Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at each individual life path forecast for the month of April 2023. Before we get into the forecast, this, of course, is a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading where we'll take a deep dive into your own numerology, please book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at April real quick. So April 2023 is a 2 universal cycle. And what that means is that universally, collectively, we will all be feeling the influences of this 2 energy. So what this could bring about is the need for balance, things coming to the surface that are out of balance, whether that's body, mind, spirit, or with relationships, things that have just felt out of alignment, coming to the surface for review to bring back into alignment at this time, or at least start that process, right? This energy is also asking us to become the observer, to stand back and really not get too emotionally invested in a situation that we don't need to be emotionally invested in, but rather take a step back, take a look through a broader lens and see, are we thinking too rigidly about something? Are we overly invested in something? Are we overextending ourselves in a situation that we don't need to be? Or again, are we overly involved in a situation that we don't need to be, which is therefore leading to resentment or frustration or stagnate, whatever, right? Whatever being overly involved or being too immersed in the situation, if it's causing imbalance, then again, this is going to be a month where standing back, being the observer, seeing things from a broader lens will benefit us. This energy will also ask us to be more decisive and discerning in who we choose to invest our energy into, what that looks like, what we will compromise with, and again, making decisions. So there may be events this month collectively where things come in and we need to make a quick decision, and it doesn't really necessarily give us time to second guess ourselves or to weigh the pros and cons. We have to trust our own internal guidance system and the information that we have that's presented to us and make a decision. And then once we make that decision, we have to give ourselves grace to understand that in that moment, that was what we needed for ourselves. And so again, deal with the consequences as they come up from that decision. Maybe make different decisions moving forward if you need to, but don't beat yourself up about it, right? Trust yourself and trust that the decision that you make in that moment is what is best for you in that moment, right? And all involved. This can also be about channeling charged emotions. So the 2 energy can sometimes bring intense emotions or deep emotions, so to kind of be moved through. So it can be a charged energy, right? And so you might find that you're easily triggered over something, or that you feel deep emotions about something. This is a month where emotions could be coming in very strongly. And so sit with them, move through them, work with them, honor them, but be mindful of how you express them, right? If you become overly agitated or overly aggressive or something like that over a situation, that's going to influence, if you're not in control of those emotions and that charged energy, that's going to potentially dictate whether you react or you respond to the situation, right? Which then will dictate the experience that follows. So this month is really asking us to get in more awareness when it comes to our emotions, and as well as how we want to work with those emotions and that charged energy, because emotions are life, right? We are feeling beings. We are meant to feel emotions. It's what we do with those emotions that makes the difference, that creates the experience. So this 2 energy coming in collectively is really going to be asking us to take a closer look at that and take responsibility for how we express those emotions, right? Not meant to avoid them, not meant to suppress them, none of that. We are emotive beings. We are meant to feel. So, but again, it's in the expression that makes the difference and that determines the experience. And so this month could bring up some things that might trigger us, that might force us to look at the emotions that sort of are more in control of us. so that we can get a greater handle on that and work with that energy, that charged energy, and channel it into something positive. This can also be a very highly sensitive month where things that might not have affected us in the past are a little bit more quick to bring about some kind of reaction, right? Or response. And so just pay attention to what's yours, what's not yours, because again, it's a highly sensitive period. And so we could be picking up on things emotionally or get a sense for things that affect our mood that may not even be ours to carry. And so just keep in mind that it is a highly sensitive period. So don't get too attached to what you're feeling, especially if it's not yours, right? And again, relationships could come into the focus this month. So mending or healing of relationships that are still meant to be a part of the journey. New connections coming in. So new soulmate connections, friends, family, pets type thing could definitely be coming in this month. And these are often relationships that are serving a greater purpose. So some kind of soul contract coming in potentially to assist us on our journey. So pay attention to the people that you meet, or again, the pets that come into your life at this time. We could uncover a new way of relating to others that serves us better and serves others better, right? So a new way of looking at relationships and how we relate to others could absolutely be coming in collectively this month. So again, pay attention to those people that come into your life or the people that resurface in your life and what they're trying to show you. What is their divinity trying to teach you, right? Through their own wisdom and through what they trigger within you type thing, or what they bring you that's beautiful, right? And so how we can learn to accept that beauty as well. That's a big part of relating as well. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at each individual life path number now for the month of April. Life path 7. So I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and actually 2 popped out. So I'm gonna keep them because they both seem pretty relevant actually with the energies that you're working with for April. So the first one that came popping out was raccoon energy. And what's kind of interesting about this and what really stood out with this is to be careful about what you digest this month, right? Like energetically, mentally, and physically, potentially, but mostly more so like spiritually, energetically, mentally. Because, if you think about the raccoon, what are they called? The trash monkeys? I don't know. I can't remember what they're called, but basically raccoons will eat anything, right? They're scavengers and they'll scavenge and they'll eat anything. And so you just need to be really mindful, especially this month, about what you believe about yourself, about others, about your situation, what you, just take in energetically as your own that may not even be for you, right? That may be somebody else's sort of garbage that they're throwing out or working through. And it's not up to you to deal with that, right? Because you're not a trash compactor, right? You're not meant to take in what other people are throwing out unless it serves you, unless it is aligned, and unless it feeds into a higher vibration for you. So really with raccoon energy coming through, that's what stands out really, really strongly, is just be careful what you take on as your own. Be careful about what you believe based on what other people are saying, based on what, other people are sort of trying to influence into you. Just be really mindful of that, right? Because you, at the end of the day, get the final say about what it is that you digest, right? Other thing with raccoon, there's this energy of like free spirit, new ideas, not being sort of like, not following the rules, so to speak, right? Like being curious and then investigating further and then doing things their own way, doing things a little bit unconventionally, and doing things that bring you joy and allowing yourself to do that without, whether people understand it or not. As long as you're not, obviously hurting self or others. So there's definitely something here about following your enthusiasm. Again, like what lights you up, what brings you joy, what gets you excited, what makes you like excited for the day type thing. And can you explore that further? And what can you do with that? And if somebody doesn't agree with it or has negative things to say about it, you don't have to take that in. You don't have to digest that because that's not yours, that's theirs, right? So ultimately with Raccoon, it's just this energy of curiosity, of exploring, of enthusiasm, of, being a little bit more unconventional, not being so rigid, just exploring new ideas, see where they take you, not feeling like if you start to explore something that you have to commit to it, right? You can start down that rabbit hole and then turn around anytime you choose to type thing. So the other energy, which is really interesting, that came out at the same time is that of the Phoenix. So this is definitely like Phoenix rising type of energy. And so there's absolutely something here about maybe some alchemical changes going on within you. Some of you may be going through like an awakening, some kind of spiritual awakening, Kundalini rising, dark night of the soul, or an emergence from those things, right? So there's some kind of renewal, some kind of transformation that you've been moving through. And it doesn't have to be this big dramatic thing. It can be it can just be about like a mindset, right? Like a reemergence from a mindset that was holding you back, or a fear that was holding you back, and sort of taking the reins, like stepping into your power and really taking the reins and emerging as, again, like giving yourself permission to do what lights you up, to give yourself permission to follow your enthusiasm, to follow your joy, to do what feels most authentic for you. So it's almost as if there's been something that's really been holding you back. And with Phoenix coming through, this is a month where you may see, just like those things, those sort of barriers, those sort of chains fall away, and you're emerging as, like so much more in your truth, right? So beautiful energy. Beautiful energy with both Raccoon and Phoenix coming through. Okay, so for you all, April holds the energy of the 9. You're still going to have the overarching energy of the 2 collectively, because that's what we're all moving with. But for 7s specifically, you guys are working with the energy of the 9. So this is a very divine feminine energy. This is a very receptive energy. This is sort of like you've built your web and now you've put in the effort and now you're letting things come to you. And then you are deciding whether you're going to, again, digest them or not, or release them, right? So this is very like sort of Scorpio energy, where you do the work, but you're not going to, you also allow things to come to you and then you decide what you're going to do with it, right? So it's a very receptive energy. It's also an energy of things may have closed out for you, or things may be closing out for you this month that, again, just really aren't serving you. And you can think of it as those chains sort of breaking away, like from the Phoenix, right? So that you can emerge as more authentically you, as what feels most aligned for you, really stepping into your own sense of empowerment. So if something is meant to fall away, if it's a person, place, or thing, and it falls away, or it's it's removed either by you or by the universe, let it go. Release it, follow, move through any feelings that come up for you around that, but release it, because you may not see something new come in this month to take its place, but probably next month or the months that follow, you will. Right? Something will come in that's much more aligned, that's at the same vibration as you, right? Coming in for you. And so this is the time to find that closure, release whatever you need to release. And again, it can be a belief system. It doesn't have to be a person. This is also a month where 7s, you need to sometimes be the bigger person. You may be called, especially under an overarching energy of 2 collectively. So that brings in the focus relationships for a lot of us, or for all of us, in some way or form, right? Relating to others. For you, there's this emphasis on forgiveness, on compassion, on surrender, on acceptance, on integrity. But really, in order to achieve that, sometimes we have to be the bigger person. We have to, if we see it, we have to be the one to clean it up, or at least attempt to clean it up, right? So by seeing a situation for what it is and seeing where the disconnect is, if we see it, we somewhat have a responsibility to try to bring it together, to harmonize it. And that doesn't have to necessarily be in the physical. It can be energetically. So if it's a connection that is not healthy for either party in the physical, then it can be about more energetically doing the work, right? Like finding the forgiveness, finding the release, finding the compassion, surrendering to whatever you need to surrender to type thing. But it's cleaning up that energy. And a lot of times when we're in a 9 cycle, that burden or that responsibility sort of falls on us. And sometimes that can sting the ego. So you just have to kind of move beyond that, because the goal is to create harmony, right? And you don't have, it's not your responsibility to create harmony for another person, as long as you're not bringing the discord, but you are responsible for creating your own peace, your own harmony. And in order to do that, there has to be some level of, again, forgiveness, release, all of those things that the 9 is going to bring to the forefront. The other thing I would emphasize for you with this 9 energy is compromise, not sacrifice. So a lot of times under 9 energy, because the energy of the humanitarian, right? It's a very spiritually elevated energy, a very spiritually elevated vibration. So it's very easy to fall into that mode of wanting to serve, wanting to help, wanting to empower and all those things, right? And like be the humanitarian and do for others. But, and that's great. That's beautiful, whatever. But there's also this component of making sure you're not sacrificing yourself for that, right? Compromise, yes, compromise is healthy. Sacrifice is not. And so sacrifice leads to resentment. And with compromise, you get to decide where that happens, right? Like where you want to compromise. So a lot of like big energy this month for you all, very much like Phoenix energy as well. And just making sure that you're not taking in and holding on to things that aren't yours to take in and hold on to, right? That you're not trying to take on somebody else's problems or emotions and fix them for them, right? Assistance, beautiful. Support, beautiful. But when we try to control the situation and do it for that person, it's just not going to end well. So a lot of very deep spiritual, connecting to your higher self, being the bigger person, swallowing your pride type thing, not sacrificing, but compromise to bring harmony, to bring peace in the situation and for self. So big energy for you all for April. I hope it's a fantastic month, especially with Phoenix and Raccoon coming through. So just try to remember to find your joy throughout the month as well. Because 9 energy can feel more serious, more like it's bigger than you, right? Like it feels bigger than you. So it can bring this sort of seriousness. So for you all, just continue to find your joy and step into that, right? Get out of the mind, get out of the energy that's trying to keep you serious, and find your joy alongside of all this other stuff. So I hope it's a great month for you all. Take care, 7s. Bye for now.